Hi everyone. Just going to test our audio here for a second. Make sure you all can hear me. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hello, good evening. I know this is a bit impromptu and we didn't really give you very much heads up to be able to schedule to join us for this tonight. But Kathy and I just thought it would be really nice if we could pop on every once in a while and just share some tips and some feedback of some things we're hearing from clients when it's relevant to maybe the larger group. It's just myself tonight. Kathy, I think, might be joining us virtually. So you've got me for a few minutes here, just sharing some tips with you today. I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend and is feeling back in the swing of things of their everyday life today. Something that we've been talking about with our clients, I'm sure you can guess, today and in the past couple of days, is how to stay on track over the holidays and how to get back on track after a holiday weekend like the one that we just had. So if you had a weekend like I did, you're probably feeling a little bit sluggish today. I had more red wine, more apple pie, more ice cream than I usually do, and I'm certainly feeling the effects of it today. So personally, I've got a headache, I'm pretty bloated, I'm pretty achy, and I'm just not really feeling top notch, but here I am, back on track, making good choices today, drinking my kombucha for my gut health. And so we just wanted to share some of our tips and our feedback for how to get back on track after a holiday weekend. So the first thing that I want to talk about is just a little bit about this 80-20 rule that Kathy and I often talk about. We really here in our office want to get away from the idea of an all or nothing mindset. That's sort of more along the lines of a dieting approach, right? So there is no falling off the wagon. There is no cheating as far as we're concerned. There's no failure. We focus on 80% of the time eating good, healthy, anti-inflammatory, nourishing foods. 20% of the time, we do not. We make other choices and life happens, and it's restaurants, it's ice cream, it's, more bigger portions than what we're used to. It's the things out of the norm. So if you think about that in the span of your week, if you're having breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day, that's 21 meals. 80% would be about 17 meals. 20% would be about 3 to 4. So if you have just had a gluttonous Thanksgiving dinner or weekend, don't worry about it. Just put it in your 20% category and move on. We hold on to a lot of guilt, and we oftentimes will really remember that one meal all throughout the week and kind of beat ourselves up about it when we really don't have to. That said, there is a difference between shaming ourselves and making ourselves feel guilty and holding ourselves accountable. So we do need to stay accountable for our actions and remember that we are in control of the decisions that we make. So your next meal is an opportunity to get back on track. If you're feeling like you're off track, use your next meal as a chance to get back on track. One bad meal is just that. It's one meal. Just like one bad day is one day of the week, of the year, of your life, right? We don't need to harp on it, and we don't need to feel guilty about it. If that one bad meal becomes 2 or 3 or a whole week's worth, or the whole month of October is a write-off, and then all of a sudden you're saying, I'll get back on track in January, then that's a different story. But if you're feeling like you're off track, then tonight when you sit down for dinner or tomorrow when you're making your lunch, just remember that it's a choice, and one choice doesn't undo all of the good choices that you've made since you've started on your nutrition journey. So make tonight a better choice, make tomorrow a better choice. To those of us who have been working with us, with Kathy and I, you know what that good choice means for you. So for some people, it's restricting the high glycemic carbohydrates. For some people, it is focusing on the anti-inflammatory healthy fats. For others, it is eliminating foods that you are sensitive to and intolerant to. So do what you know is best for you individually. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just do what you know makes you feel good. So now that we've got that out of the way, the whole guilt, shame type thing that we can often do to ourselves when we make choices outside of the ones that we typically do to nourish our body, I wanted to just give some practical tips as well. So a couple practical tips of what to expect after a long holiday weekend. I'm going to assume that your weekend maybe was like mine and you had more carbohydrates than what you're used to. When we eat more carbs, we will crave more carbohydrates. So it's really easy to see that if you're tracking your food either on Chronometer or on a written food journal, you can really quickly make that correlation if you're tracking the way that you feel. So hungrier, cravings, more intense, really bad sugar cravings, insatiable type hunger all through the day, those types of things typically will follow higher carbohydrate meals. So if we know that that's going to happen, it's really important to get ahead of that, anticipate it, and prepare for it. It's natural. It's nothing to beat yourself up on. It's not a matter of willpower, you know, saying to yourself, why can't I get on track? All of those types of things. It's really your biology, and it's a response that all of us share in the same of. So it's important to anticipate that those cravings are going to happen. This week, you're probably going to want more carbohydrates. If you are new to the keto group, or if you've been doing the keto program for a couple of weeks now, you've probably noticed that it's really nice the way that your carbohydrate cravings just naturally go away and you don't really crave sugar all that much. Now you're probably noticing that you feel differently. So to get ahead of it, we can just prepare, know that you're going to be hungrier, anticipate that hunger, and arm yourself with maybe more snacks than you normally would. Just keep yourself surrounded by healthier options. The high fat, moderate protein snack choices are going to be the best one for you. The best way to get out of that carb craving cycle is to stop eating the high carbohydrate foods. So even though your body is asking you for sugar and you're craving sugar, you don't want to eat sugar. You want to eat and you want to listen to that signal, but you want to eat the higher fat, moderate protein options. If you're having sugar cravings, specifically sweets, things like the chocolate almond fudge, or the chocolate almond power bar are really great options. I love the chocolate avocado pudding with some sea salt in it. Kind of nails that sweet and salty craving for me. Super, super high fat, really nourishing. I usually put in some of my collagen, vanilla collagen powder to give it a little bit of extra protein. I don't usually feel like I need an after dinner snack, but on days like today and after weekends like this weekend, I know all week this week I'm going to be snacky after dinner. So I made a big batch of the chocolate avocado pudding last night, and I've got that there for me when my snack attack hits. Those high fat and protein snacks will give you balanced blood sugar. They'll give you more sustained energy. They keep you fuller longer. So if you're feeling like you're crashing through the day, or you got that 3 p.m. crash today that you're not used to, that's just your blood sugar, going kind of wonky throughout the day. You don't need caffeine. You don't need a mid-afternoon coffee anymore. You need a food that's going to stabilize that blood sugar and get you off of that, carbohydrate roller coaster. Something we get asked a lot is whether it's a good idea to skip a meal after a holiday weekend or do some intermittent fasting. So to that, I would say, listen to your body's cues. If you are hungry, you certainly want to eat. I really am uncomfortable with the idea of a forced intermittent fasting. I think that kind of goes against the principles and the methodology behind intermittent fasting. If you wake up and you're not hungry for breakfast and you're not getting any signals from your stomach that it's time to eat, then sure, extend your fasting hours until your body is asking you for food. But if you're hungry and you're just telling yourself don't eat because you ate too much on the weekend, that can actually do a lot more damage than it can good, and it's really sending your body the wrong message. So along with eating probably more this week, or maybe just in the next couple days, you're also going to want to drink more. Drink more water, specifically if you've had more alcohol, if you've had more processed and packaged foods that probably have higher sodium and higher additives than what you're used to, your sodium potassium balance is going to be a little bit off. Your electrolytes are going to be off. That's going to lead you to retain water and feel puffy and bloated and all that kind of stuff. So it seems a little bit counterintuitive to drink more water when you're already feeling like you're retaining water, but that will help to flush out some of the water retention. Specifically though, what's important hand in hand with rehydrating is making sure that you're rebalancing electrolytes as well. If we're just flushing the body with water, but not paying attention to potassium, magnesium, all of our really important electrolytes, then we just remain imbalanced, and that can leave us feeling muscle cramps and headaches and lethargic and all of that, those types of things as well too. So an easy way, there's a couple of easy ways to get hydrated and rebalance your electrolytes. One being a homemade electrolyte drink, so something like a homemade Gatorade, the G word, homemade Gatorade. Basically, the idea behind Gatorade is that it gives you the glucose that your body needs, the salts that your body needs to get everything back into balance in the ratios that your body needs, those types of things. Gatorade also has a ton of dyes, a ton of other things that we really don't need and aren't beneficial to our health. So I like doing homemade versions of it. There is I'll post a recipe in the comments because there's a recipe that I really like. It has coconut water, hibiscus tea, so a chilled hibiscus tea, which is really great anti-inflammatory herbal tea, some lemon or lime, some good quality sea salt, some magnesium powder, and a little bit of maple syrup to help make sure we're replenishing those electrolytes, along with rehydrating with water. We can also replenish electrolytes with high potassium foods like avocado. So that chocolate avocado pudding with the avocado and the sea salt and the high fat coconut milk, all those types of things, really great option for this week. Lastly, one of the things that I just wanted to also touch on is if you feel like you have been straying a little bit from your health goals longer than the weekend. So if you have the mindset of, you know what, Thanksgiving is coming, I know I'm going to eat bad food, I'm just going to start later. Or if one meal has compounded into another meal and another one, and you just feel like you've been off for a little bit longer than you would like, I always like to recommend revisiting your health journal. And if you don't keep a health journal, then starting a health journal. So writing down, giving some thought and writing down all of the reasons why your health is a priority to you and why you are committed to making some health changes. I personally have kept a health journal for about nine years now, and it's so awesome to go back and see where I started and the progress of my own health journey. I mean, I started for such different reasons that I'm continuing now because I'm in a completely different season of my life now. But my motivation remains the same and my health is just as important to me. But it's a really great tracking tool to be able to go back to the number one reasons why I'm doing this, why I'm taking the time to do the grocery shopping and spending my Sundays inside doing the meal prep and not having all the leftover pumpkin pie and the junk food that my husband loves to keep in the house. I need to have it in writing sometimes to revisit. We really like to focus on the wins. So we call them non-scale victories. So good things that are happening when you change your nutrition. So things that don't have to do with number of pounds lost on the scale, but better quality sleep, better energy throughout the day, being able to garden without aches and pains, better athletic performance, skin health, your skin is clearing up, all of these types of things we call non-scale victories. And we talk about those a lot and we really cheer each other on about those. But I think it's just important to track some of the not so great things along with the great things. So for example, today I feel pretty awful. Like I said, I got a headache. I feel super bloated. My stomach is just off. My cravings are insane. I'm hungry, but my stomach doesn't want me to eat anything. I have very low energy. I know I have to go to the gym tomorrow morning, and I really don't want to. My motivation is very low. So I'm going to track those things, and I'm going to put them in my health journal or my food journal, just as a reminder to me of what the power that food does have, good or bad. Sometimes just putting it in writing, the act of writing it down, can make it all that more real and solidify it to you. So when we're writing down all of the good things that happen when we eat certain foods, for me, example, I'm pre-diabetic, and so I like to track my morning blood sugar numbers, and it's really cool to me to be able to see in a numbers format that, you know, I ate this all day yesterday, and I ate this before bed, and this was my number in the morning, and I know that that was a direct correlation with the foods that I was eating. Or if I'm getting off track and I don't want to test my blood sugar, I know that's when I have to test my blood sugar, and I'll see the numbers, and it will reflect the foods that I'm eating. And I'll track those numbers as well too. I don't just delete them, I write them down, and so that I know by writing everything down, it solidifies in my head that, yeah, these foods are important and they do affect the way that my body is responding. So writing everything down, good or bad, can really help us get on track and keep us motivated, and is a great tool for future reference. So that was kind of everything that I wanted to share with you today about getting back on track after the holidays. There was a comment earlier in one of the groups that they were having a really hard time with some of the foods that were in the house weekend after weekend. And Kathy had commented back, just throw it out. You know, and we very rarely will tell you to waste food, especially if you're just starting with us. We will always say, use what's in your pantry, use what's in your fridge, and then the next time you go to replenish, make a different choice, and we'll help guide you to what the better, best choice would be. In this case, if it is pure junk that's hanging around in your house, if it's pumpkin pie, if it's desserts and treats and sugar-laden processed packaged foods, things like that, just get rid of it. If you can. Your family doesn't need it. Your kids don't need it. Nobody's benefiting from eating those leftover foods. If it's turkey and mashed potatoes and whole food-based things that, you know, maybe you don't eat potatoes every single day, especially if you're in the keto group, they're still an okay food. It's still a whole food. It's still a vegetable. It's still grown in the ground. There's room for that. But if it is something processed and packaged and man-made full of chemicals, just ditch it, throw it out. You'll be much better off, and feel much better about moving forward, and set up for success when it's not in your kitchen. So that said, hopefully that was helpful to some people who are struggling today or have been struggling after holidays. Tonight, get some groceries, get some meal prep done. If you're getting a sugar craving, prep up some healthy snacks like the chocolate almond fudge or the protein bars that you can have in your freezer and are there for you when you are hungry, and when you do have a craving, you know something's there for you to make a better, healthier choice. Get hydrated again, drink lots of water, replenish those electrolytes. Don't beat yourself up. This isn't a shame game. You don't have to feel bad about overdoing it on the weekend. But that said, write down your goals, write down the reason why you're making some health changes, and hold yourself accountable in a positive way. So that's it from me tonight. I've got a client coming in a couple minutes, so that's perfect timing. And we will talk to you later. Bye, everyone.